All right, we got Tom Strachan from Service Buddy here to kind of talk about CRMs for contractors and talk a little bit about their software and the benefits and features and things like that. So, Tom, what's your elevator speech, man? When you go to like a networking event, what's your elevator speech?
Yeah, I think, for us, it's, across all sorts of contractors, what we've typically found is those people are good at whatever their craft or their trade is, but, running a business is very different. And generally we found that a lot of them have later unpaid invoices. So we try to kind of focus, the software does an awful lot, but we focus right on that. Like, how do we eliminate those or drastically reduce them? But also, give you a time back in your day. It's really as simple as that.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Is that most contractors are working in their business and they don't really have time to work on their business at all. And yeah, I think and the little time they do get to work on their business, it's probably chasing down invoices. I mean, I know even us, I'll have unpaid invoices like 6 months back. Sometimes it's just the software reminds them, but even then, you kind of have to reach out to some clients sometimes.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. And so tell me a little bit about, kind of some of the features and things that I think, like what's the most sought after feature when a contractor comes to you?
Yeah. So I think, for the contractors we'd like to work with, generally it's, business that is growing, and either, to your point, like the owner is really into the business, so he's kind of he's not just running the business, but he's actually doing the work. For them in particular, I think there's a couple of features that are super helpful in terms of just organizing their operation a little bit more. Having all of their clients kind of in one central location with their phone number, their email, their property location, any sort of notes that are unique to that client of theirs, kind of having that all in one spot. And then with a click of a button, being able to send them a quote, put them on the calendar for some sort of job, or send them an invoice, or just send them a text or an email and communicate with them, to schedule something or, follow up on something. That's kind of the big one, is just in terms of organization. When I look at our platform, probably our customers spend the most amount of time on the calendar and kind of operating their business from that.
Makes sense. Yeah. Well, like we were talking about before we hit record on this, was that I have a lot of contractors that they don't even have their customers in a database. They're just in their phone. So I mean, that alone is huge. And for me, I came from kind of a big corporate background, and it was always the CRM was the first thing we set up. It was in. So that was where I came from. So when I started my business, that was the first thing I got. I got my CRM. I started putting my leads in there, doing networking meetings and following up with people. And I don't think people realize how important it is to have that CRM and be able to, I mean, it's a customer relationship management system, it says it right there. It's like, even when I first started my business, I was doing cold calling, and, I'd call a guy, I called this one dude, and he's like, "Oh man, I'll call you back. I just broke my finger," and he never called back, obviously, and which was fine. But I put in there in the system, broke his finger, ask him how his finger's doing next time. And so, that lead came up, and I was like, "Oh man, how's your finger doing?" And he's like, "Oh, it's better," and they appreciate that. You're building those relationships. He knows that I care, and I think showing people that you care goes a long way. So,
yeah. 100%. And it's so simple, but if you're a contractor out there and you look at, if you look back, on this year, and look at all your customers, like look actually where your revenue is coming from. Like what percentage of that is from net new customers, meaning you've never heard of the person before they reached out to you, versus, repeat clients. It's, if I'm willing, it's different for each industry a little bit, but I'm willing to bet probably it's at maybe 50-50 in terms of repeat. So it's super important because a lot of it is like relationship driven, right? Like any business. So you do a great job for that client. If they need work again, they're going to call you. Or if one of their friends needs something, they're going to recommend you. So it's so important to kind of stay up on that and kind of keep that data clean. Having good CRM hygiene is something that kind of I preach that it's just really important.
Well, I think also you get into that place of developing just, presence of mind with clients, even if you're just that, contractor who probably sees someone, once every few years. It's just being able to reach out. That's where referrals, will come from.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like CRM hygiene. I was just putting together kind of a, I've always kind of just gone in and done it, but I didn't actually put together a standard operating procedure for doing it. Merging contacts that are duplicates, adding other contacts that are associated with an account to that same account, right? So you have some good organization. But yeah, I mean, I heard a saying a long time ago, like what's the best customer? It's a customer you already have. And, you can work those for, I mean, it's not like you just do a job and you're done. I mean, there's so many ways to number one, you can upsell them later on as long as you stay front of mind, right? Additional projects in a contractor's case, right? I mean, I can't imagine how many people probably get a small job done and then they lose the business card or the number and they're like, oh, I like John, but I lost his card. I don't remember his phone number. So, it's like now you're just gone, so. And again, staying front of mind, it's like even social media, email marketing, those things might seem slow, but they really are important because when you're staying in front of mind like that, they're kind of every chance they interact with you, they think that you're this, this more authoritative brand, it's so, and even social media is just now starting to do pretty good for us. We closed like a $4,000 deal last month, just on Facebook. Email marketing, I know at least one instance where I closed a $15,000 deal. And then even bigger deals than that with, kind of the monthly pay-per-click campaigns that we do. I've upsold a few of those. So, I mean, it's huge, man. It's huge. And really, it's just how you grow your business. And not only that, now you're talking referrals, you're talking getting reviews, right? I mean, if I like what a contractor does for a project and they request a review, I'm going to do it, and not only that, you could request it multiple times. You could do Google Business this quarter and then your BBB profile the next quarter from the same person. So, but yeah. It's huge. It's huge. I don't know how you really kind of get some contractors to kind of see that light.
Yeah, I think part of the reason I love this industry in particular, when I'm looking at it, is it's incredibly large. There's so many different contractors out there, and then when you look at kind of especially the ages of these businesses and the people running them, a lot of them are family businesses. So that next generation is set to take over relatively soon. And if you look at, I always talk about this, but like if you look at their customers and the expectations that they have, you got to meet them. And the way you meet them is through technology. So, instead of, driving across town and dropping off that invoice, people and nowadays almost like expect you can, text or email an invoice to their phone and have them pay for it as they would do anything, order something from Amazon or, schedule an Uber, something like that. That convenience is almost expected now. And to your point of like, how do you get them there? I think, taking baby steps in terms of implementing technology. So one of the things that when we set out to kind of develop Service Buddy, we wanted to have a simplistic layout where it's easy to navigate for that person that's relatively not that technical. Again, like a lot of these people using the system are out in the field. It's got to be able to work and do what they need it to do. in as few clicks as possible. But, when you think about that customer or user journey, making sure that, once they're comfortable with sort of the basics, taking them to that next level and implementing some automation or, ideas that can help them, capture more leads or, close more jobs or convert more quotes, stuff like that. But I think it's just, starting slow and kind of getting it right and just like going at the pace that they're comfortable with.
Mm. Yeah. I still have a number of clients that I'm trying to get to take on a CRM. I mean, if anything, for them to get reviews, request referrals, but also just understanding their LTV, like how much can you spend to get a customer, and I think a lot of businesses don't understand that, and they look at only the front end of, hey, we're running ads and we're getting leads for this amount, and then they average they don't even really go this far. They average this much in sales. They usually don't even go that far. But I mean, and then you talk about the lifetime. I mean, that's huge. I mean, that data is so important for you to be able to grow your business and get out there, especially if you're struggling to. I mean, I know a lot of contractors they're busy. They're usually in high demand. I mean, every time I go to hire a contractor, I got to make 15 calls, and maybe one or two will fit me into their schedule at a within a reasonable time period. So
yeah. That was actually an assumption that I had, when I started this business that I was incorrect on. A lot of contractors, and I don't think this is unique to like where you live. This is kind of across the country. But they are in such high demand. They are so busy. And, part of the idea that I had is, wouldn't it be nice is, from a value prop, hey, we're going to, win you more jobs. It's like, a lot of these people don't want more jobs. They're busy as is. They want time back in their day, and they're spending time on things right now where, if they implemented a CRM or if they implemented, a management system, complete with a CRM, they would get time back in their day. And, obviously everyone wants that. Like no one wants to get home and then, flip open the computer or break out the books and start to figure out like what's going on in your business or on the weekends. When we started, it was like, go out and win more jobs. Now it's like, hey, just get the time back, eliminate the late invoices. That's kind of where we focus.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I like when I look at Service Buddy, I mean, is that it's a comprehensive resource that it goes from the initial estimate through payment processing. So like I've heard from several clients, just the frustration of trying to do that kind of CRM payment processing, all of it piecemeal, trying to find all these different resources. And you're just giving them, here's one thing that will get you through the whole thing. I think that's great.
Yeah. And where we focus too, like, it's not like we have some secret sauce that no one else does. I think in fact, like our secret sauce is we pick up the phone and we answer it when a customer has a question or like, a concern or just needs help with something. It sounds simple, but it's not some sort of chatbot or white paper. It's like, hey, I have this problem. Go read this, figure it out. We do a really good job of onboarding people. We can customize to some extent, how they run their business. Because what we want to do is we almost want to conform the software to how you work, not the other way around. So in terms of like a notification, if I wanted to, click this button and have it set the button say like, confirm job or confirm pickup or, whatever it may be for the client, we'll go and do that. And we just make sure that they're off and running, when they come on board as a customer, because I've been through that experience personally when you sign up for like a new software or something like that online, and that onboarding experience just isn't great. And you think you have the right solution, but you can't actually go make it work for you.
You guys kind of help clients import and get everything kind of just set up and going for them, or how does that work? Tell me a little bit about your onboarding, because that is a critical step, because most people buy software with these high hopes and then they never use it, right?
100%. Yeah. So ours is it's easy. It's easy if you have if you have an existing sort of like field service software. We can import your data automatically. So clients, whether it's old quotes or old invoices, team members. So if there's multiple people in the team, kind of get all that data in for you. And the system will populate automatically. And then we sit down with you and like truly walk you through the system and say, okay, like what's a day in the life? Like, you wake up, you either get to the office or you're in the field and you want to send a quote, or you need to, text a client or email a client. How would you do that? And we kind of show them how to actually do that in Service Buddy. What we found is, I'd say on average, we spend maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours with somebody. We might hear from them again if they hire someone or they, need a refresher on something. But for the most part, once they're onboarded and operational, like we rarely hear from them, unless they like accidentally delete something or, need us to kind of go in the back end and, put that back in for them or something like that. But yeah, it's, we do a really good job at the beginning. And I think that's helpful, for the customer long term.
Yeah, absolutely. Onboarding is definitely a critical step, and just getting used to the software, because you're going to start to build those habits right away with any software. And if they're bad habits, then, you're not going to have good output. So yeah, one thing I wanted to touch on too, and a CRM alone, it's almost another angle on reputation, is like how many times I've read a lot of reviews of contractors where they make a commitment to show up to do an estimate. They don't show up, because they forgot or whatever it might be. So staying organized in that manner, yeah, you can do that through a calendar, but, having your day planned out in a CRM can also prevent that stuff. Like there's nothing worse than getting a bad review because you dropped the ball, right? It's like, I remember the first 6 months of, me being in business, coming from a big corporate background. I mean, we had meetings, but not that many, with running your own business, sometimes it's just back-to-back meetings all day, and you really got to plan your day. But yeah, I mean, I dropped the ball like the first 6 months, and then I was like, I got to really figure out some new habits here. And I kind of adopted the GTD method, the getting things done by David Allen, and that helped me out a lot. But, I think with running the business, there's these growth, paradigm shifts that you have to go through. Really at every level of your business, it's continual growth, for that matter. And I think that's, the CRM is day one, right? The CRM is day one. So
yeah.
But, so now does your system currently, and I don't want to nitpick like too much or go through all the little details and stuff, but what marketing wise, what could a contractor expect from your system?
In terms of like what we do for marketing for that,
like email marketing, can you do bulk text messages, bulk emails? I guess a little bit about kind of the foundational functions of a CRM.
Yeah. So, when I think CRM, it's kind of anything related to any data related to that client, kind of having it in one particular place. So we can do kind of, again, like you want to have the basics down. So name, phone number, email, address, property information, tie in any notes or any time that you reached out or contacted that person. So the system tracks all of that. If there's multiple people in your business, so people have different usernames, so you get to see, okay, Carl met with this client, 3 months ago. Here are the notes. Tom met with them this week. Here are the notes. Or, we are going to meet him again next week. You could have that all in there. You can send, bulk email, bulk text. Nice. You can send individual text. You can send individual emails. We can speed things up. So typically for specific jobs, people generally send the same sort of text message or same sort of email for that client. So we have things like we can customize the buttons that you would press to send that message. And,
nice.
We can have all the information being static, meaning it's the same information or same message that you're sending to your client. Or we could have it, be dynamic as well. So some things in the message would be dynamic and some will be static. So if you wanted to say, dear XYZ customer, looking forward to seeing you on XYZ date, for XYZ job, we can put that into the system forms. So it's really just about understanding how they work, and then we can get to work kind of putting it together for them. So,
nice.
It's super, super smooth in terms of usage.
That's awesome. Yeah, I hate text messaging from my phone. So yeah, whenever possible, I like to use a system. I mean, I even tie into my iPhone from my computer just because not only that, I mean, I always have typos every time I'm texting from my phone, and it's just unprofessional. It's like, I can't believe I sent that, So just being able to.
And like people are super busy. Like people miss an email, people miss a text message. It's so critical to have it all sort of tied into one system. Like I think it was maybe this summer I saw some tweet about this guy who his air conditioning was broken, and he reached out to like a number of HVAC businesses, and only a couple of got back to him. Like few texted him, from their personal cell phone, and like couldn't send a quote. And then the one he ended up going with like couldn't take a credit card, and he was like, this industry is so outdated.
Yeah.
But in fairness, I think people like haven't had that opportunity where they're like, we just need something simple and that works, and somebody that is going to spend the time to teach us how to use it. Because if you Google HVAC software, you're going to get 100 different companies out there. So you got to find the one that works for you.
Yeah, that's a really good point, man. We worked with a huge HVAC company here in Phoenix, and their system was so outdated. There are a lot of CRM softwares that are they're just riding the reputation they had over a decade ago, and they haven't updated it. They haven't added anything, not even the user interface. It's as ugly as day one. It's like it was made in 1999, It's just. And I was horrified when I saw, because they were trying to pull me in to do, a lot more kind of automation and integrate their CRM to the website. And it was terrible. I mean, it was like, like 20 different little windows, and they had to do all these. I mean, it was just too complicated. I mean, not only for, the accessibility and speed of use, if you're on the phone with a client, you got to be able to navigate this stuff fast. But I mean, I couldn't imagine onboarding and training new reps to deal with that software. I mean, how many mistakes are going to be made, so it is frustrating to see that a lot of these companies aren't, progressing their software. And I think that's really important. It's definitely something I like to see. Is what's on the horizon, and constant release updates, like what's the new functionality and how does that affect me, what are, I don't want minor stuff. I don't want, I want it's really got to progress quickly in today's technology, because as things come out, it's not only that, getting your communication into one lump is awesome. Like I recently did that with my Facebook, Instagram, text message. Everything goes into one. I'm missing a lot. I'm missing fewer messages now, because it used to be if someone hit me up on Instagram, like I wouldn't see that for like, a little embarrassed, at least a few weeks, sometimes a month. And then I'm like, oh crap, I should have responded to that, so, and that's another, I mean, that's, a large percent of success is just showing up. So,
yeah. And people who are listening to this, it's not like if you're out there and you're, you have a successful contracting business and you don't have a CRM. Most people don't. Like I've spent a ton of time doing market work in this space, and everything that I've seen is like almost 60% of people are still, for the most part, operating on pen and paper, maybe QuickBooks, maybe like Google Calendar, but they certainly don't have a CRM that's like integrated with like invoicing and payment processing. They just don't. It's relatively new in the market, in the past few years. So I would say like the old legacy players in the space, like, they haven't updated, their software because they, like, a lot of them haven't had to. They're like customers, again, like once they find something that works for them, if as a software business, if you do a good job of serving them, they might not leave you. But that's the whole key. It's like, you got to continue to serve them. update the software, come out with new features based off their feedback, and that's how you keep them. I would say we try to do customer interviews every 6 weeks, sometimes every month, but just more so understanding like their business, how they're using the software, like what screens are you spending time on, which screens are you not spending time on, like what are the features you like best, what do you not like, what if you had a magic wand and could wave it, what would that do? And that kind of dictates our roadmap, heavily. Like there's a couple features where we're working on now, and like our team didn't come up with them, like our customers did. And it's funny, it's like funny, like people generally like the same vertical, but are sort of asking for the same things. So I think we do a really good job of coming out with. We have new releases almost every week, big releases, I would say every month.
Nice.
But yeah, we're always looking to improve it, and again, a lot of the roadmap comes from our customers.
Nice. I was just thinking of something as you were talking. Have you guys used MouseFlow or any kind of screen recording as people are in there?
We haven't. Like we have the logs so we can track when, like, because we needed this day one when somebody like accidentally deleted, Mrs. Jones account or something like that.
Yeah.
We're able to go back in the back end and like import that back into their system for them. But no, we don't have any sort of like tracking software. We've looked at it now, but it's just kind of interviewing our customers is kind of giving us what we've needed to understand. Potentially when we have, 5,000 users on the platform, we might look to something like that.
Yeah, MouseFlow is pretty cool. We use it for like pay-per-click landing pages and things like that because we want to know where people are hovering. It records their screen, shows where their mouse is, creates heat maps, and good analytics. But they have a free account up to 500 recordings per month, which is really cool, and those refill every month. So I try to get my clients in there just so they can kind of glean some insights as to people how they're using their website, how much they're scrolling. And I think, people would, when they install that on their site, they'd be surprised that, you got to have that CTA and the important stuff above the fold or they're gone. Most people, they hit it, they read for a few seconds, hit the back button. Then you got your analytical buyers that go through and scroll down and read 5 pages too, but those are much fewer. I would check it out, man. It's just a little snippet of code, dump on your site, and you're recording away. It's not even going to slow anything down. So yeah, check it out. But another thing I wanted to talk about was sales cycle, right? These are big. A lot of these contractors, I'm sure, are doing big jobs, and those aren't decisions that people make really quickly. And I think that's another key element that a CRM really plays a role in is you're going to be working, say 10 deals, and those are going to be big ticket deals. If you don't have those in some sort of pipeline stage, generally like a nice visual layout of stages, it's very hard to keep up with. I know even occasionally I forget to update my pipeline stages and I'm like, oh crap, I didn't send this estimate out or something. But it is nice to know I can just log in there real quick, see what deals are working, see who's been sent an estimate, and then when I have time, I can just reach out to that list and give them a call. So I think having a nice pipeline stage that's fun to use and makes sense, and even able to automate things as you pop something into different stages, like just, once you send an estimate, have it automatically create a task where to call them in a day or two to follow up on that, right? So that's easy to forget.
Yeah, 100%. Comes down to like all these people are really busy. Like one of the cool features we came out with recently is like when you send a quote to someone, kind of being able to upsell them or offer kind of optionality in that quote, and allowing the customer to approve it or request changes. And in this new release we just came out with, now like all that information's flowing into the system. So we're capturing that. There's, again, like, it's not like you're chasing down emails or looking through text messages. Mrs. Smith wanted a quote for XYZ, also asked for this. We're storing that data within Service Buddy. So like you could be able to update the quote or see that she approved it. and kind of just keep moving them through your pipeline.
Nice.
But yeah, like, having that, all organized is super important.
Nice. Yeah,
I'm always sort of interested in stories. So like where does Service Buddy come from?
Yeah.
What's its origin story?
Yeah. So my background, been in software, almost a decade now. And probably 4 or 5 years ago, I was working for a family office that would invest in smaller software companies, and part of my job that was pretty interesting was I got to just talk to all these different entrepreneurs that started, their own software business. A lot of them, have bootstrapped these businesses, and they're selling into markets where they're almost, they're big markets, but they're not so big where you're going to run into a lot of like VC firms. And I became just super interested in it. A lot of these people just had interesting stories. And, they were, business owners doing really well. And I kind of learned there, what makes a high quality software business. Regardless, technology aside, like if you dive into the numbers, why is this one better than the other? And what I found was, generally the ones that did the best were, like system of record software, meaning they were kind of a one-stop shop for their client, and it helped them run and operate their business. And there were certain markets that I was interested in. One of them was field service. And I just kind of kept it in the back of my mind. I wasn't ready to make the leap as an entrepreneur. It's as you guys know, it's a pretty scary thing to do. But as I would say, like as fate would have it, the late last year, I was kind of looking for opportunities and businesses that potentially I could acquire and take over. And I found a business at the time that was a field service software. They only had one customer, and it truly ran their business. It was everything from scheduling to quoting, estimates, job management, invoices. And didn't do payment processing. They integrated with Stripe to do that. The person who built the software didn't have the appetite to really grow the business. And so anyways, I acquired the business. And then from there, got to work, kind of rolled up my sleeves, hired a team, and we've kind of rebuilt the platform in a way that, one, it's like much easier to use. We have a lot more features. We've built out things like QuickBooks integration. Most people have QuickBooks, so you got to be able to integrate in their accounting piece. And then we built out, we haven't officially announced it yet, but Buddy Pay. So we actually have our own embedded payment system now. So we tie it all together. So from the initial lead coming in to managing that customer to processing that payment, we can handle now with Service Buddy. What's great about the payments is generally ours are less expensive than our competitors. So, depending on how much credit card volume, contractors doing, we're able to put, a significant amount of money back into their pocket, which they always love. And they can still provide the same great service to their clients. So, we've been, hard at work growing, still bootstrap business. And, we have kind of have the goal to just grow it organically and not take on outside capital and, have realistic growth goals, but just serve our customers better and better and, figure out new features we can sell to them. That's kind of where we focus.
Nice. Yeah, merchant fees are huge. That's a painful bill every month.
Yeah, and I think it's because one, you don't get a great rate. If you go to a processor, the payment space is kind of opaque, on purpose. And if you don't process a significant amount of volume, you're not going to be getting a decent rate. So for us, like not only do they get a less expensive rate, they can tie it all together with their management software. And they can either, get the lower rate, or they can even pass it on to their client, to pay. And then when you think about, the client, the bill is $500, most people are okay paying a few bucks for the convenience to pay with a credit card versus like putting a check in the mail. So yeah, that's sort of the origin story. But yeah, that's kind of, we try to focus on the management software and the payment processing.
Yeah, that I mean, it can be night and day with the merchant fees. I mean, for me, when I first started my business, we run a subscription model, right? So we have a lot of subscriptions. So for me to change that over is crazy. And yeah, my rate's not that great, and like you were saying, they're not really that transparent. You get your statement and there's just all this BS on there. It's like,
yeah,
I mean, they can really take you, man. It's crazy. That's definitely something I think every business owner needs to look out for as they were considering, or just starting their business, starting to take credit cards, whatever. That can be huge. I mean, you're talking hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in savings every month by getting a good rate on your merchant services.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. We've won clients over, simply because of the credit cards. It's, it was very expensive. And with us, it was like, one, the ROI is pretty immediate, kind of based off what we charge for the software. But yeah, it's, again, like just one more thing, if you own your own contracting business to kind of pay attention to, because, it can add up, certainly over time. But if you get the right system in place, you'll be in a great spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I you hit another nail on the head too with cost savings as an all-in-one solution. Like I've seen it happen a lot where, a client hops on a software real quick, but they didn't really, determine, does it integrate with QuickBooks? Does it have email marketing? Are you going to have to buy that now? Are you going to have to integrate with a text message solution? Are you going to have to buy an online booking system? I mean, that stuff can add up, man. I mean, you're talking for online booking, $25 a month, for email marketing, $60 a month, for social media posting, there's another $40 a month. It's rough. And by not really planning and picking out the right system, you can cost yourself a lot of money, a lot of time, because then you're having to learn multiple systems and log into different systems and either export your data from one system into another system. And it's just not fun to use. And you're not going to use it. That's one thing I found. If it's not fun, you're not going to use it. So if it's hard for you to send out email marketing, well, guess what? You're probably going to do one every 6 months, maybe, if if you're lucky, because you're going to dread logging into it and doing that. So I think that's huge these days. That's always something that I look for and, kind of hope my clients have, at least planned. And I do have a process, because a lot of times clients come to me, because they're feeling overwhelmed with how to choose a CRM, right? So that's the first thing I do is like, okay, let's create a want and a needs list, right? And then we'll go through that, and then we'll go through and explore niche CRM softwares, right? I always try to start with niche, their industry specific CRMs, and then go from there. And then I always implore them to pick out 5 to 10 software, see which ones have all your wants and needs, and any other cool features that along the way, note those in your wants and needs, so your list kind of grows a little bit. And then I always push them, after you have like your top 5 software, now do demos with their sales staff, contact their sales support, see if they're responsive, contact their support team, because sometimes they have a really great responsive sales team, but their support team is, a little, they don't really care too much. So, and then just going through that list, and then, even having the sales rep who's doing the sales demo actually walk you through a process of, adding a customer, booking them, managing whatever you're going to manage with that client, and just understand the process. And even, video record those too, so that you can you go back and reference them, because when you're kind of weighing that many different software solutions, it's really easy to forget, oh, this one had this and that had this. And I've done it for real estate agents a number of times just because there's so many options for them and they vary widely in cost too. I mean, you're talking $30 a month to $500 a month, and it ranges a lot, and they have a lot of different features and functions. So, I think I've created a blog on our site about kind of ways to go through and pick out a CRM for your niche. So whether you're a contractor or real estate agent or whatever, you're marrying the software. It is a marriage. It's going to be painful to leave if you have to.
Yeah.
And things can definitely go wrong in that process of switching over. So yeah, it's
yeah. And to your point there around, is it the salesperson or is it the support person that I deal with? Like that's pretty important. And it's almost like you get what you pay for. There's a lot of, I would say, probably competitive solutions to Service Buddy that might be less expensive, but at some point you're going to want something or need something. Can you pick up the phone and call them? Are they going to answer it? Like, what does that process look like? Mm-hmm. Like, if you're, sitting at the client's house and you're trying to send a quote and it's not working, are you okay with getting a response in like 3 to 4 days? Maybe. We try to go like above and beyond to make sure that our customers are successful, and we've done some crazy things in the past, like going back to that example earlier, like somebody accidentally deleted like a client, and they're in this scenario they were in the store and like needed to pay, but they didn't have any record of it, and it was a weekend, and we went in and did some magic to get that that client back in their system for them, that one of the guys there accidentally deleted, but it's just about service. Like it's no different than any other market. It's a good partner. You want to make sure, if this is going to help you run your business, like you want to have a good partner. You want to make sure that, you like each other and you can trust each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Really good point. It is all about service. Cause, in the end, there's for technology solutions, there's pretty much unlimited options. So, it is all about service. We try to do the same thing. We like to do video recordings. We record our screen, send it off to them, and even help them out when maybe things aren't even fully related to what we do, but we're immersed in technology, so we can often at least help point them in the right direction. It is super critical, especially because you have such a variety of people out there in terms of just their ability to deal with technology. I mean, for some people, just managing email is super difficult. They get frustrated, when you're on the phone with them, just to figure out what email account they're in, and that's hard. And we try to do our best to walk them through that kind of stuff. But, when you're dealing with that, and then you have to get them into a Google product or something, like get them into Google ads or something. I mean, it can be very hard. You got to be willing to hop on and do a screen share and resolve the situation as soon as possible, because believe me, I get frustrated with technology. I mean, it doesn't matter how involved you are, you're going to yell some 4-letter words occasionally, dealing with technology, just because some days it breaks and it's not even your fault. It's like, this company deprecated their API today and they didn't bother to give us very much notice. I was like, oh, great. Well, that's broken now. It's frustrating.
Yeah.
So I know more than I do, because you're dealing with it at a much more intricate level than we are. So.
Yeah. And it happens, every technology out there is going to have issues. It's just about like managing them, as quick as possible and preventing the ones that you can prevent. Yeah. But everyone's had their frustration with some sort of technology. Like we had one client, everything was pen and paper, and it was a very successful business for, they've been around a long time. And, I almost had to explain the cloud to the owner and say, even if you spilled coffee on your laptop or iPad, we wouldn't lose the data. It's, it's up there in the cloud.
Yeah, well, that's a really good point for sure, is just protecting that data. And that was someone had asked me, and I thought it was genius. I was like, he asked me, he's like, what happens to your business if something happens to you? Now I had backups, Carl is actually, kind of, if I die tomorrow, he's got a pretty good standard operating procedure on what to do. Right. And, so the business goes, but if you're pen and paper and your business is all in your head, I mean, what happens? Is and you're the breadwinner for your family, if you don't have somebody trained to take on that stuff and understand the software solutions that you're using and your processes and are able to just take over, I mean, that's huge. I mean, any day could be your last. And I feel like, especially if you're having, a family member, your son is in line to take over the business, the sooner you get him involved and get him, at least the standard operating procedure to start to get those passwords and logins and understand the business the degree that they need to. I mean, if you're a breadwinner and you go and you don't have that, and you're pen and paper or, whatever, I mean, your business is done, and you're going to have a lot of angry customers too. Oh,
yeah. Yeah, there's that. And let's say the son isn't there to take over the business. So let's say you want to retire. A lot of people out there just kind of walk away from the business when in reality, the amount of years that you, Mr. Contractor, have spent growing this business, it's worth something. And there are buyers out there that will come in if somebody doesn't, take it over. There are buyers that will come in and buy and operate your business. It's what is it worth? All the tools that you have, if you have vans, if you have data, so the clients, all of that information, a lot of these jobs could be repeat jobs that you go, twice a year or two, or they could, if it's like HVAC and that's contracted work, that's worth something. And some people, don't necessarily know or understand that. Or let's say you want to, sell to the competitor across town. You can't do that if you don't have data. If you have the data, you can go ahead and do it. It's so valuable.
Yeah.
And, that's kind of what we preach. Because if something happens to you and, all that tribal knowledge is, evaporated, that's horrible. But, think about kind of the next phase of your life. If you want to do something different, and you spent so many hours building this business, you want to make sure that you can exit it and, enjoy that.
Yeah, absolutely. Have an exit plan, and a CRM is definitely part of that. It has to be part of that. So I read a book, glad you brought this up, Built to Sell. Great book. So I think every business owner, you got to have an exit plan, right? It's not, I don't want to be 60, doing what I'm doing, I don't think my hands could take it. I have arthritis by then.
Yeah.
I'll be all hunched over, it's like, you can only sit at a desk so much. I mean, you got a stand up desk, but I'm lazy. But Built to Sell talks about, creating standard operating procedures for everything and productizing everything, right? He even talks about even the verbiage of using clients versus customers. It's like, if you're the face of your business and people expect you and only you, your business is not as valuable as you would want it to be. It needs to be productized and, standard operating procedures for everything that you should be able to just hand to somebody, and they should be able to execute those pretty well. And CRM and your customer database, I mean, that's number one in terms of, having something that's worth something, a business that's worth something, right? I'm glad I read the book, because otherwise I would have really just been going down the same route I am, where I was really the business, and it's still kind of that degree, but not necessarily. We're working out our standard operating procedures to be able to bring out stuff, and that's me being, because I'm very particular about quality, right? And the customer experience, and I've got 17 years of experience, so I'm able to walk through almost any scenario with a client, but if you don't have that, it would suck to work 30 years on your business and find out that it's not worth much because you didn't take a few steps, like creating standard operating procedures, having a customer relationship management system. And I think that's huge, because I know I talk to a lot of my clients and they want to sell, 50, 60-year-old contractors and like, I want to sell, I'm ready to, sit on a beach and sip margaritas. Yeah.
Yeah. And even if you talk, to if you talk to a plumber, who's, in the late 50s, early 60s, and has been a plumber all his life. I'm sure when he started out his career, he didn't maybe know how to price a job correctly, or like, how do I bake in enough margin for me to make money? And then if you look at the end of his career, probably has it down to a science. Like it's a no brainer. He'll probably look at something. He's like, yep, this is the price, or we got to do X, Y, Z. That information is so valuable to have recorded in whatever sort of data that you have. That can't be pen and paper. You spend too many years, working on that to kind of let that tribal knowledge go. Like that's got to be recorded in whatever system you're using.
Yeah, knowledge work.
You're also
So knowledge work. Yeah, your proprietary process is everything. Sorry to interrupt you, Carl. Go ahead.
Oh, no problem. No, I was also just thinking about it in terms of having a resource where you've got the flexibility to deal with changes in technology in the market. I mean, you even mentioned, a contractor who is dealing with a client who doesn't, needs to take a credit card. And that's their only way of paying. And younger generations are, they don't have checkbooks.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to adapt to just changes in the world.
Yeah. Like my fiance, we're doing wedding planning right now, and like she doesn't even have a checkbook. And I'm 32, and that's not unique for people my age. Like people don't do it, and people younger than me, certainly a lot of them don't have checkbooks. Like it's all about online payments, and people love the credit card rewards and stuff like that. But the goal is to bring down the fee, low enough where, the contractor can want to take your credit card. So that's sort of the goal. I think about, field service software and, the things that are important to, at least to our clients. It's got to be simple. If it's not simple, you're not going to get buy-in from the owner. You're certainly not going to get buy-in from the people that work in the business. Like again, like these people are very good at whatever their trade or craft is, and they want to spend time doing that. They don't want to be spending time kind of punching in information into some sort of software. So that's kind of where we focus, is like simple, easy to use, or it looks simple, looks easy to use, but there's been a ton of work to go into that to make it that way. And then service, we just kind of go above and beyond to make sure that you're successful. And if there's any way we can help you grow your business, that's kind of where we want to focus.
Yeah. No, simple is definitely good, especially with this kind of software where they're going to be in a hurry to enter this information. It's got to be easy. It's got to work. And realistically, even adding too many features, I think would be a bad idea on some of the software too, or at least being able to remove those features if they don't use them, right? Or whatever. I know that's big, because
that happens. So I know this because I used to be in software investing. I used to work in private equity. Often these businesses get bought up by private equity, and the first thing that happens is they get all these new features and functionalities with the goal being to upsell the client. The client didn't sign up for that software platform because it had all those features. Like it had the features that they wanted when they signed up. So they don't want to pay extra for things they don't necessarily need. Us being bootstrapped and kind of not taking any outside funding, it's like we're focusing on the things that you need and improving and enhancing those along the way. Like we're not, we don't necessarily have the capital to go build, 100 new features, and we don't want to do that. We want to spend time on the things that matter. So yeah, that's an excellent point. Like, you can add unlimited features and different bells and whistles, but at the end of the day, it's again, like giving them time back in their day, eliminating late invoices and the rest of the stuff, somewhat matters, but not that much.
Yeah. It's got to be fun to use. Absolutely. I use Zoho, and I like it because it does everything. It's like 40 different applications all in one, but it is not fun to use. It's not. I mean, I've even had to just take off some of the features, like you can just remove them from the navigation and stuff like that, just because there's so much. But yeah, and I've even found, like, when I first got it, I was like, oh, I'm going to add this. It's going to be crazy. It's going to do everything. But then when it came down to it, I was like, yeah, I don't want to look at all this stuff every time I want to enter customer data. I just want to just put it in real quick and be done with it. So it's definitely easy.
We can even hide things.
Nice.
That people don't use. And like, if you don't want to look at it every day because you're not using it, like, we can hide it in the back end.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Which is nice too. Because there's, like, we have different flavors of the software for different industries. So like a rug cleaning business, or that cleans rugs and sells rugs, we'll need like an inventory module that we have.
Oh, nice.
But a landscaper doesn't necessarily need that. So there's things we can hide and ultimately, like, just present the things to you that are valuable to you and that you're going to use.
Nice.
Which is cool.
That's solid. Yeah, I really like that. That's cool, man. Usability, man. Usability. Just having fun with the software. If it's not fun to use, you're not going to use it. So yeah, that's like the number one focus. I love a nice, clean, easy to use interface. So
yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, man. So I mean, we're excited to watch you grow. It's been cool, and we'll definitely we have a lot of contractor clients, so I'll definitely send some your way, man. Yeah.
No, we appreciate that. And it's it's been a lot of hard work building this business, but it's rewarding. Like, when you see, like, the amount of hours you're giving people back in their day, like, that's super worthwhile, and it's a lot of fun. So no, I hope we can work more closely together, because the digital marketing strategy that you all provide alongside sort of management software that we have, it kind of creates this, like, awesome solution for contractors.
Yeah, they go hand in hand. And having your website, digital marketing, and a CRM I'm working with another CRM company to provide a solution for just random. We have all kinds of different industries, so we need options. But that's our, because almost, I would say, I don't know, at least 50%, maybe even close to 75% of our clients do not have a really good CRM system. They're like, well, we got QuickBooks,
and they're not using it for a while.
Yeah. So that is definitely a kind of a hole we need to fill for our clients, because it makes them more successful. It makes their marketing more successful. It helps them leverage every customer they get, like, they're not falling through the cracks, especially, if we're running a Google Ads campaign for them and they're paying, $40 to get their phone to ring or get a web form submission. I mean, you guys got to track that. Like, it's,
Yeah.
I mean, it literally, a lot of industries, it ranges. It might be $10 to get their phone to ring, or it might be $50 depending on their industry. So it's critical that everything is accounted for. And yeah, we implement other software for that, like CallRail, for just having a central place to all that goes, and help us understand, lead attribution, where those leads are coming from, whether Google organic, Google Ads, whatever. So, yeah. But you need solutions like that, to make sure that you are getting an ROI on your PPC. And I mean, there's no sense to run ads if you're not getting an ROI, or at least have a good enough LTV to make up for that, over time. So, yeah.
You work so hard to go out and capture that lead.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing you want to do is not call on them or email them,
mm-hmm.
When you actually do it.
Yeah. But it's fulfilling. I mean, that's one thing that's always got me excited. It's like every time we send one of our clients a lead, that is business for them. That helps them grow their business. It helps them hire employees, helps their employees put food on their table. You know what I mean? It's just bringing a tremendous amount of value locally, where you actually, you're doing really good for the community. You're bringing the community and business owners a lot of value, because they really do fuel your local community. these small businesses that we serve. Whether you're getting your house cleaned, you got to get your roof fixed, or you got to get your kitchen remodeled, or you got to get some landscaping done, whatever it might be. I mean, these businesses aren't going anywhere, until Tesla gets those robots out, maybe, and then.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I actually saw one of those the other day, but I think we're still a long way a ways from that. And at the end of the day, like, humans like talking to other humans. The goal is to like utilize technology to enhance that, not eliminate that.
Right.
But I don't know. I wouldn't bet against Elon Musk though.
Right. Well, I do, I always chuckle because, even my girlfriend was like, oh, yeah, we're so close to AI. Because, like you'll ask Alexa for something just super basic and it just goes off on a weird tangent. You're like, oh, yeah, we're so close. Yeah. It's frustrating, But we got a long way to go for that. And that, I look at it as, job security. We do a great job for our clients, and these jobs aren't going anywhere. People need to hire, and again, they still want to talk to humans, even if you had robots out there able to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and another perspective too is that I see, and I want to bring this up, it's a little off topic, is that, man, getting our clients to do authentic photos is so difficult. And I bring that up because I've had a bad experience where, like, we had this our HVAC unit broke down, and I didn't get to pick the guy because it was through our warranty. But I mean, he came in, and he just was not well dressed. I mean, he looked like he combed his hair with his pillow that day. His shoes said "F off" on the side of them, and it was just a really bad experience. Then he ended up fixing the system either. And if there's one thing I could say is, like, use authentic photos on your site. Families want to know who's entering their home, and I think even with that, putting your image in your signature, right, in your CRM software. So when you're communicating with the client, they see that they're talking to a human too. So I think just having I put a couple $100 into our email signature with some animation and photos and things like that, just so because I think people forget that they're talking to a human sometimes, when they're emailing back and forth. When you got to look someone in the face and type that message, I think that goes a long way. But also knowing who's going to be entering their home. I've got a kid. I don't want just anybody going into my home. So I think that's huge.
Yeah. And like messaging them before you even get there, like, hey, this is Tom. I'm pulling up. I have a white truck with my license plate XYZ or whatever it is. It's just to, build that comfort with the homeowner. It's so important. Yeah. It goes back to just service, whatever you do. Like, people want to work with other humans they like. And, that's a good point.
Safety for sure, man. Yeah. You never know these days.
I think it also, I know on Service Buddy, like, you have the option to send like on my way texts and things like that. And that, especially if before you gave them a window of 3 to 5, I mean, it's so much nicer to know, okay, they're going to be in there in half an hour. Okay, cool. Yeah. That's just it's a little thing, but it's a huge for customer experience.
Yeah. I always make the example of this. Like, I'm not around here. This happens all the time. I'm not sure kind of where you live if this happens, but like Comcast, most people have like Comcast. I made the switch over to YouTube TV, which I like, but Comcast, like, if you need something done, they, they'll send you an email or a text message. Hey, we'll be there between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. It's like, okay, that doesn't really help me at all that much. Like, I have to work. So are you going to be here at 11 or are you going to be here at, 4:30? What time are you actually going to be here? But, they don't have the best service. But the person who can say, hey, I'll be there in 30 minutes, or hey, we're running early if you're available, that stuff goes a long way, because not many people are doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and clients, they'll forget too. So, I mean, it would suck to show up and they're not there, and now you've got to kind of, reschedule, and you just wasted a bunch of gas money driving out there. So I think, text message reminders and those things are critical. I know we do those for our meetings, and I know before I started implementing like Calendly is what we use. Before I implemented that, I would get my no-show rate would be pretty high just without the text message option. So, you're definitely killing your business if you don't have that kind of stuff for sure.
Yeah. What time for the reminder? Because we use that for booking demos with our software. What time like works best for you in terms of like that reminder? Is that going out the day before, or are you sending that like a couple hours before the meeting?
Email goes day before, and then the text message I think is 1 hour before.
We should look into that.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's a good question though. You do kind of have to test the user experience often, for sure.
Yeah.
It's easy to set something up and then assume that it's the best scenario. It might not be.
Yeah. A lot of these family businesses that are generational businesses are at this cusp where they have to, adopt technology to continue to serve, their customer. And people are looking for kind of a simplistic, easy solution to do that. You kind of, take that first step in the journey. They don't want to jump all into some solution that might not be a fit for them. So that's kind of where we focus is, hey, we'll take that first step for you. We have a really nice system that's going to, do everything that you need it to do. And then we're going to focus on onboarding you and supporting you to make sure that you get the actual value that you need from it, which is going to do a few things, give you back time, help you save a little bit of money, but more importantly, help you grow your business. Because that's what everyone's looking to do. And, they're looking at multiple different products to try to figure out how to do that. And we sort of provide this really nice all-in-one solution that helps you do it.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, yeah, I could say that we would definitely feel comfortable sending clients your way. And yeah, definitely love the level of support, man. And I think what you're doing is really great. I think it's definitely needed, especially as, some of these older systems that just kind of need to go away because they're not being updated do. And, companies have to make that switch too. And, just get a good CRM.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Really appreciate your time. Appreciate you having you on. So the best way for people to get a hold of you is at servicebuddy.io and
servicebuddy.io. Yep. Right. Send us an email, pick up the phone, give us a call. We're here. We'd love to meet with you.
Awesome, man. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, likewise. Right. Thanks, Carl.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate you, man.
Daniel.
Thanks.
We'll see you. Chat soon. Bye.
Bye.